How can you build a Gantt chart in Excel? This is what we're going to see in today's video. A Gantt chart in Excel is a really good chart because we can see when your project starts, when it ends, and you can also compare each one of the projects, if you want, each one of the tasks that you have. And of course, you can also see here within the bar, the days, the length of your project, how many days is going to be required to complete your project. And of course, whenever you change here any values into your data set, you can change the start date, the end date, or even the days. You're going to see that your Gantt chart is going to be automatically updated for you. So the Gantt chart is a really good way to go when you need to compare, to see all the projects, to manage, to control all the tasks, all the projects that you have. So I hope this video can help you out, and let's go and let's find out how can we do it step by step. Let's go. The first thing that we need to start with is with your table, with our data set, where we're going to input each one of the projects that we're going to have, and the start date, the end date, and then the days in between each one of these dates that we're going to have. So let's start doing it. It's important to start with the table because you're going to need the table to build the chart itself, to use as information. So let's start here with, let's say, project name, for example, and then in the second column, we're going to type in start, and then days, for example, and then the end date. Let me select here the column A, B, C, and D, and in between one column and another, I'm going to click, hold, and drag to the right to make sure I can increase a little bit the size of this column, like this, for example. Now here in the project name, I'm going to type it in the projects that I have. So for example, task 001, for example, enter. But of course, here is just an example. You can use the real projects or the real tasks that you have that you need to do. Here I'm going to use task 001 just because it's an example. I'm going to click, hold, and drag down. Task 0010, this is the last task that I have. Now one thing that I can do here is select everyone that I'm going to have, and then home, centralize and align everyone in the middle. I can put borders, so I can click in the stop arrow, all borders, for example. Now I can select here this first row, home tab, and then I can put everyone in bold, and I can change also the color of the background of the cell, because that way you can create a, let's say, a more pleasant looking design here. The start point is the date when your project is going to start. So for example, you can type it in a date, for example, like this. After the start point, start date of our first project is here, we can do two different things here. Or I can define the days that I'm gonna need to complete each one of the tasks that I have here. Okay, so this is the first thing that I can do, define the days, and then by the days, we can calculate the end date, or we can do the opposite. We can just input here manually the end date, and the days is gonna automatically be calculated. We can do both, okay? So we're going to show you how can you do a menu using manually the days, and then how can you use the end date manually. And of course, when you use days as manually, you need to type it in manually, the end date is going to be automatically, and vice versa, okay? So let's start here with the days as type it in manually. So let's say my first project just start day 16 of the month 8. So maybe I'm gonna need 10 days to complete this first task here. So my end date is gonna be equal to 10, add 2 plus the start point, enter. Okay, so here I got the correct result, the final date, the end date of my project, my first project, my first task. So here we just manually add the days, and through a formula, we can calculate here the end date. We can do, this is the first thing that we can do. And the second option is this one right here. So I'm gonna define manually the end date. So for example, 8/27 of 2023, for example, enter. How many days is in between the start and the end point? How many days I'm gonna need to complete this task? Equal sign, the end date, minus the start, enter. Okay, so here we got the correct result. So you can use what is best for you, okay? You can choose. I'm gonna stick with this option maybe. I just input here the end date, and then the days is gonna be automatically calculated for me. Let me just click, hold, and drag it down here in this top right corner of the cell. That way I make sure all the rows contain the same function, like this, for example. And now we're gonna pause the video, and I'm gonna just input all the start dates that I'm gonna have for all my tasks, and of course all the end dates that I'm also gonna have for each one of the tasks that I have here. Okay, I can back in 1 second. I just finish it to complete here to input all the start dates and all the end dates. The days is always automatically updated for me whenever I change the start point or the end point. Now we can create our chart. So to do the chart, I can select here the first column and then the second column. Okay, this is the first one and the second one. And then I can click here in the insert tab. I can select here the column chart, but instead of using a column chart, I'm going to use the second option of the bar chart, that is the stacked bar. I can click here. I know that the chart is not looking like a Gantt chart yet, but we're going to improve it. Let me click here in this circle. I'm going to click, hold, and drag down to make sure I can increase the area of the chart, like this, for example. Now we can start to make some adjustments. Let's start here to click in this title and then read it off it, delete it. Another thing that I can do here, as you guys can see, I have all my tasks in order A to Z. So the first one is here and the last one is down below. Okay, so the first one is in the top and the last one is in the bottom. But here in the chart, for some reason, it's in the opposite way. I have as my first task the last one actually. So the task 10 is here above, but I actually need to make this order in the opposite way. So I need to sort it A to Z. I need to take this first task here and actually put it here above, okay? To do it, I can double click here in this vertical axis, 1, 2, to make sure I can open this right panel. And I can make sure I can click here, categories in reverse order. Okay, and we're done. I can close it. And yes, now it's in order. Another thing that I can do here is select all the column that I have that make up here my days. So I select all the days column and then Control C. Now we're going to click in the chart and then Control V. As you guys can see, we just add each one of these new bars that we have here in orange column is actually or that are going to make up our Gantt chart in Excel. Now to make it a little bit more like a Gantt chart, I can click in this blue bar and we can hide it. So I can click here in the Format tab and then Shape Fill and No Fill. This option right here leave us here with this Gantt chart. Of course, we have here a lot of blank spaces. I mean, for example, this blank space right here, maybe it's make no sense because it's like we are wasting this area. Maybe we can improve a little this area right here, and instead of just start with our chart in the day 23, in the date here 23, I can start in 8/16. Okay, so we can improve here these dates. I can just double click here. That way we can make sure the area of our chart is optimized, let's say that way. So here I'm going to type it in the first data that I have, the minimum date, 8/16/2023. So 8/16/2023. Enter. Okay. Another thing that we can do is click here in the bar, and then I can go to this option right here, gap width. I can change it to, let's say, 50%. Enter. That way we can make the bar a little bit thicker, and it's much better. Another thing, let me just click here in the fill and line, border, solid line. I'm gonna choose a black option, and I'm gonna stick with 0.75. Yeah, I think it's good. Now we can close it, and we are almost done, guys. Two more steps that we can do here is to put, let's say, the days 10, 10, 10, 21, and so on, just within these bars that we have here. So we can input the days right here. Because instead of just having the dates right here to compare and to see when our project starts or when it ends, I can also see how much days it requires to complete a task. So I can fill it in each one of these bars here. Within the bar, I can put the days. So let me just select the chart and then chart design. Here to the left, I can click Add Chart Element, and then Data Label here, and then Center, for example, like this. Oh, but why I got here these floater dates, for example? Because these floater dates are supposed to be just centralized with our blue bar that we just deleted before. So I can click here and delete it. Now I can, let's say, click in the values, only the values that I have here within the bar, and I can increase a little bit. So Home tab, and then I can increase the font like 14, 16 maybe, and put it in bold to make it easier to see, like this, for example. Now the last step to make the chart complete, I can click in the chart again, chart design, and here to the left, add chart element, I can put some grind lines, this first option right here, horizontal. Okay, now we're done, guys. This is our Gantt chart in Excel, and you can see now when your project starts, when it ends. And of course, whenever you change any dates that you have, it can be the start point or the end one. As you guys can see, the chart is going to be automatically updated. So let me change it here. Let's say this last task that I have here, I'm going to increase the end date. So instead of using 25, I'm going to use 30 maybe. Enter. Okay. Now the chart is automatically updated, and of course the days here within the bar also automatically update for me. So I hope you guys this video can help you out, and if you have any questions and suggestions to the next videos, comment down below, let me know, and I see you tomorrow as every day has a new video. I see you there.